then I regret my decision to say that. But I'm pretty sure that he was ripping fat targets like Don on a Juul pod before they were killing.
Yeah, Don Trellenman is sitting on IR.
Then my apologies. I wrote that down this morning, and I was like, no one's going to think this is coming.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. This is part 2 of the Week 5 preview cast, and I'm here with none other than Vinny Gonzalez again. What up, Vinny?
I'm still here, baby. What's going on?
Story of my life. That's what I tell my family when I call them. They're like, Matt, are you doing okay out there? I'm like, I'm still here. Don't talk to me anymore.
I'm alive.
And then I start talking to them about fantasy football. It's irrelevant to them, but
then they hang up.
Yeah, exactly. That hits very deep. Anyway, so like I said, we are here for part 2 of the Week 5 preview. If you didn't listen to part 1, what the hell, dude? Go listen to part 1 first. God damn. In addition to that, you should listen to Shrek's recap of Week 4. Some good stuff there as well. Vinny and I are going to dive into the second half of some of these Week 5 games. Before we get going, Vinny, I just want to give it a little sponsor read. This podcast is courtesy of MyBookie. At the end of a hard week, it's great to sit down, take some time off, and watch some football, of course. Game-winning touchdowns on 2-minute drives, running backs racing on the sidelines, the good stuff, with no one to stop them. There's nothing else like the NFL, and there's no better way to make the games even more exciting than to bet on them. So do the smart thing. Go to mybookie.ag. No one gives you more ways to win than they do. MyBookie's got the fastest payouts and better lines than any sportsbook out there. Don't forget, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. And mybookie.ag is the best in the business. It's where I play and lose all my money. It's where Vinny plays, loses all of it. Well, you win some money, maybe. You're better than me at that.
I've never lost, so.
Okay, good, perfect. And that is where you should bet and never lose too. So do that, mybookie.ag. Use the promo code Let's Talk, LETSTALK. That gets you a 100% sign-up bonus up to $1,000. So let's get right into it, Vinny. We're piggybacking off of the part 1 of the Week 5 preview. We glossed over some news. We talked about guys like Tyreek Hill, Saquon, seeing the practice field, Melvin Gordon get back into it. We're going game to game to address all this stuff. No need to hash it out in the precast. So, Vinny, you got anything before we jump right into the second half of the games?
No, let's go for it.
Let's jump on it. So we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ravens are a 3.5 favorite. I don't know how you type this up. I can't really figure it out.
So I put who's favored by them.
I see it. Okay, the parentheses. That makes sense. That is my fault. It makes sense now. Anyway, so let's jump into these Ravens first. Pretty wealthy fantasy offense. Lamar Jackson, stud, right?
Oh, dude, he's probably a pick of the draft in a lot of leagues, and has been performing incredibly well.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like just to say something about that real quick, you probably, if you pay really close attention to fantasy, you probably thought it, and we're just. No one could have predicted what he's doing right now, but you just didn't pull the trigger on it. Like, I had arguments with my friends, like, Lamar Jackson is going to be the dude this year, and I own him nowhere just because. Right,
dude, because he rolls around in the 8th, 9th round, and you're just like, you know what? I need some Dante Pettis right now instead of Lamar fucking Jackson.
Right. I was either ripping like Mahomes or Watson in the 6th or the 7th, or like waiting until the 14th. And shame on me because I wish that I did it. But anyway, so you start Lamar. He's quarterback 1 right now. Pretty sure. Right? Better than Mahomes. So let's rip right into this passing game, Vinny, on the Baltimore side. Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews. Is there anybody else you're looking at before we get into these guys?
No, not really. And I wouldn't really read into last week's, you kind of called the Willie Snead garbage ass touchdown. Nah, I mean, you're just playing Brown, hoping to land that big play, seeing a lot of targets too, so that's always good. This guy's just – he'll be very solid for you, I think, throughout the season. Good pickup.
Well, so here's the question I ask you. Are you cool with starting Brown this week, honestly? Because while his snaps have gone up, and that first week was an anomaly where realistically nobody started him, right? Probably. His snaps have gone up. His yardage has gone down every single week, and he's not finding the end zone. I like the fact that his depth of target is shrinking. That shows that they actually care about him in the offense. He's not just like a burner, Deshaun Jackson, old school Steelers, Mike Wallace style.
Right.
But the results are not there. And where do you put him? I put him as like a flex play right now, man. Low end wide receiver 3.
No, yeah, that's kind of what I meant by like, yeah, he's ready to roll. Like, throw him in the flex, wide receiver 3. You're totally on there. It's just everything is trending in the right direction besides the results. So that has to tell me that, I mean, that is telling me that the results are coming. So I'm still fully in. He's a guy that I don't know if someone gets frustrated, I'd probably be looking to trade for. Or I would love to talk trade, man. I actually need a wide receiver as well. I like Marquise Brown a lot.
Yeah. I will talk trade. I mean, you just said something that really, like, I was like, Vinny's going to say something that makes me feel better. And you said everything is trending in the right way except the results. And, like, I get what
it's true, though. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Targets, they're not just – you literally said it yourself, too. And you just you are having a problem because you do not know – you have too many wide receivers.
Yeah, I have good options, but that's besides the point. Like, when I was looking at you, and you're not wrong. You're correct in what you said. But for me, it's just like everything's trending correctly except the results. I'm just like, God, fuck. Because I want to play this dude every week. And I didn't play him week 1 as I shouldn't have. I didn't feel bad about it. And then when I did finally – I didn't play him week 2 when he was okay. And then the 2 weeks that I did, he was extremely average. And, I'm going to probably roll him out there against this matchup with the Steelers right now. But I don't feel really good about it at all. And honestly, I'll say it right now to you, Vinny, who's in a league with me. If you wanted to trade for him, I am open to that shit real hard. And we'll take – honestly, like – quarters on the dollar for what I thought that I had week 1 or 2.
Very interesting, because obviously we've seen week 1, the dude can win a week for you. Like, obviously, like you said, no one played him probably, but it's just the way the offense is trending. Like, it just looks good. And like I said, obviously the best part is missing, which is the actual points that matter. But everything looks very good. I guess he would probably be a prime buy low candidate who's shown a lot of high upside.
Okay, so let me ask you this, guys. We talked about in the first part of this podcast. Are you playing Marquise Brown or Auden Tate this week?
Brown.
Okay, are you playing Marquise Brown or Will Fuller this week?
That's probably a better one. I'll probably go with Fuller on that one.
Okay, see, and I think that's the range that we're talking. Just for one more, are you playing Marquise Brown or Golden Tate?
Hollywood.
Or just Sterling Shepard?
Both. Hollywood over both.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, just the matchup for the Giants is rough, and I like this offense way better against the Steelers, even in like an away game. Okay,
fine. I like it. I think you're right on what you're saying, but that's just I kind of wanted to put in context where I think he is.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
So Willie Snead, you say you're not buying into that.
No one should. Whatever. Any garbage shit that happened in that game, just fucking throw in the going.
Yeah, and it saved Lamar Jackson honestly for his studness with that, end of the 50-yard touchdown, whatever it is. So Mark Andrews, I want to talk about Mark Andrews for a second.
He is still missing practice and stuff, but probably should be a go like last week.
Yeah, so he's a tight end 1. I was a big Mark Andrews believer beforehand. My thing in the podcast preseason was that he was going to lead the Ravens in targets this year, and I think that may happen still.
Trending in the right direction.
Here's the thing. I think Mark Andrews is a sell high.
Just because he's still not playing all the snaps?
Because I think he's not playing all the snaps, and, I don't care about Hayden Hurst and, shit like that.
No, but they still are out there.
Yeah, they are out there, but I think that Mark Andrews' schedule is really shitty. And where you got Mark Andrews was probably, if you even drafted him, nobody drafted Mark Andrews before the 11th round in their fantasy draft, right? So probably Mark Andrews has a pretty shitty schedule coming up. And, I'm not saying that you should completely factor in what these defenses do against tight ends and, where they rank against – the Jets are, number 2 defense against tight ends. They've played against bad tight ends. But still – that's how it goes. So Mark Andrews, where do I have him here? I just want to say real quick. Wait, hold on. I almost have the schedule here. Pretty rough schedule. He's got Cincinnati, who's been pretty decent against the tight end up the middle, regardless of how bad they've been.
Agreed.
Seattle, who's also been pretty decent against that end. Bye, New England, right? And right there, like going forward, I think spinning the wheel on that low end tight end one roulette wheel, I just think that where tight end can be, you're going to get some Mark Andrews like 6-point weeks. And I think that the yield you could get in return on a trade is pretty decent right now as far as like spinning the wheel right there. I think if you have Mark Andrews, it's extremely valuable and you can better your team more than having Mark Andrews. Does that make sense?
It does. And I feel like the return should probably be a running back or wide receiver too. I don't think that's too much to ask. I feel like that's probably you're not lowballing. I feel like it's pretty much right where it should be. I feel like both parties would be very happy in that exchange. And like you said, even though the schedule is bad, Mark Andrews could still be totally fine. Yeah. So I think that's a fair trade. I don't think anyone would be angry to hear you out if they have like, if they're playing fucking Delaney Walker every week. I'm sure they'd be very happy to hear that.
Right, exactly. And I also, just to that point, I think like if you have Mark Andrews and you can go out and get somebody like who's a person that I'm thinking of, like who's a good wide receiver too.
Maybe like a Sutton.
Or, so say if you were to get like Sutton.
I mean, Sutton's doing incredibly well now and is ranked higher on the season thanks to the last 2 touchdown game. But, someone like that or in that like vein, like DJ Chark or something like that.
Right. And if you could turn Mark Andrews into that and then play like the Eifert, whatever it is,
Witten
game, like Witten game or whatever, Steelers tight end game, I think that can bring more value to your team. Just a thought. But like be comfortable with what you're selling on, but I just think that it's a sneaky value and you got lucky with it. I think it's a good sell high. That's my only thing.
No, it's a good take. I really haven't heard too much about that. That's a very good take, Matt.
Yeah, I think you could turn that into something good. With that, the only thing we haven't talked about this run game, Ingram rolling him out there, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. I also think he's a sell high. He's kind of in the same situation as Mark Andrews, seeing kind of, splitting the carries and whatnot, hitting pay dirt, but he's still going to show his age eventually. They're very high octane offense. They run a lot of plays a game. They're running a ton and like you're reaping the benefits now, but how many times have we seen running backs just fall off a cliff mid-season, late season? So it just happened in our league. One of our friends was able to trade Mark Ingram for Michael Thomas. Like that's a great fucking trade. To get Michael Thomas out of that trade, in my opinion. But I just think Mark Ingram is eventually going to hit some sort of wall or just not be able to hang. And they kind of split carries anyway as it goes. So I think you play him while you can if you have him. And then if you want to trade him, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And just to this is definitely micromanaging the situation, but the fact that Gus Edwards is still kind of getting carries a little bit shows that I think they may start to hedge off Mark Ingram at some point with a playoff hunt for health a little bit. Not like a substantial way, but if it was a guy where it was they're rolling out what's his name? I'm losing it right
Justice
now.
Hill.
Justice Hill. If he was getting a lot of work, that's not a changing of the guard type situation. That's not happening. It's this could become more of a 75-25 timeshare between him and Edwards than it has been so far. So I like what you're saying is that they'll preserve him at some point.
Definitely.
So moving away from the Ravens, let's go over to the Steelers. You have a little note here that you still think Mason Rudolph sucks. Is that because you watched him play decent against the Bengals and it made you sad, or?
Oh, no, you're totally right.
Yeah.
that's basically all I got.
Yeah.
They shredded him. Mason Rudolph is looking competent. Whatever. I don't really have high hopes for the Pittsburgh's offense going forward. I don't know. Is that just me or are you not incredibly worried about the shit that's happening in Pittsburgh?
No, I definitely agree. I think in every fantasy year, at least over the last 5 years, I've owned some Steeler stake, whether it was James Conner last year when it was cool, Le'Veon Bell before that, Antonio Brown. I've always owned in the Steelers. And this year, I think I said it last week with Shrek on the podcast, I'm so happy that I don't. And James Conner is a must play. He's a low-end RB1, worst high-end RB2. And I'm so happy that I don't deal with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just kind of wanted to fuck the Bengals up in a weird way where there was a lot of work given to Jalen Samuels. They just knew they could fuck with the Bengals. And that's what they ran. They ran the outside zone. Fucking wildcat on them. It was just embarrassing. So I'm not.
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, I'm like the Jalen Samuel game. Like he had a great game. I'm not really. I know you mentioned him on the podcast before. Are you buying in? Because I'm officially just like that was a one-time thing. I don't think he's going to be heavily involved. Even with James Conner being kind of dinged up, that usage was fucking insane.
So I agree with you in the sense where like I feel like the fantasy community when I was like listening to other stuff pre-week was like, oh, Jalen Samuels is legit and like this is potentially a flex play and this like that. I think that he should be owned all the way around.
Yeah,
I think
owned for sure.
Owned for sure. I do also think that this week they were just like nationally televised. We cannot go 0-3 and lose to the Bengals straight up. Like we're gonna rip this Wildcat. The Wildcat is not there to stay. Like Mike Tomlin was even just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like that is not something that's gonna stay. I do think that Jalen Samuels could factor in a little bit, not nearly in the way that we saw on Monday Night on Primetime. And he's gonna be a hot pickup. The one thing that was weird for me was that even though they went up a little big, he had like 8 targets in the passing game, and we've seen him have some success. I really like him as a pickup because this week will tell a lot about what his usage is. If it comes close to what it was last week, then I'm buying into it. I do agree with you that I think it could totally be a one-off, like, fuck that. I'm not buying into that at all.
Well, yeah, a week before, the dude plays 2 snaps, and then all of a sudden against the Bengals, they used him as their focal point. So it was odd to say the least. Very good game plan by the Steelers, but holy shit. That's not what – like, I don't want to be, like, flexing Jalen Samuels over a dude like Will Fuller or something and losing my week because of it.
No. And
right.
if you do, like, that's on you. I really like the pickup. If he's available in your league, go snag him because there's not really many upside running backs, especially a running back, on the wire like Jalen Samuels is. But don't buy into it yet. You can't.
No, not at all.
You can't. The bye weeks aren't, like, crazy enough. If it's, like, the week, like, 8 where there's, like, 6 teams on bye, then maybe, but no. So James Conner, you're starting. Jalen Samuels, you're owning. You have to own him, I think.
Yeah.
Let's move in this past game. Juju, completely underwhelming. Shitty situation, sucks. You're rolling him out there still.
Yeah, you have to. His trade value is pretty beat, too. It's just kind of what you're dealing with right now. That's really all you can say. You're rolling him out there. You're sucking it up. Could he break a long touchdown? We obviously saw that 2 weeks ago. Didn't happen against the Bengals. That's how fantasy goes sometimes. That's how the Steelers are probably going to go the rest of the season.
Yeah. Got to roll Juju out there, though, I think, still.
Oh, absolutely.
So the rest of that passing game, the wide receiver 2 has always been like a weird influx. It seems like Deontay Johnson might be the 2. That's the right first name?
No, yeah, I'm absolutely with you. I don't think James Washington has really come to fruition at all, even though the preseason connection between him and Rudolph was like strong as hell, and in college. But Deontay Johnson, dude, 2 last weeks, big long touchdowns, very identical plays. He should be owned probably in deeper leagues more so. I don't know if I'm in a 10-team fucking with that. Maybe if you want to just tease like a bench spot if you really hurt in a wide receiver. But
yeah, or if you drafted James Washington, just go to your friends.
Yeah,
I still know what I'm doing.
Yeah, just like I can correct this mistake. But yeah,
the only thing I want to say about him is that I kind of like him a little bit in daily, solely because we just watched Baltimore get so wrecked by Jarvis that like maybe some shit could happen with Deontay Johnson. You know, I'm just saying like a low cost, like end of your lineup in daily fantasy play. Deontay Johnson, Jarvis just went for like a borderline career day. Definitely
almost 200 yards.
Yeah, definitely a Cleveland Browns 10-year day. So, but yeah, fine on a fringe zone, not starting him. The tight end situation. You care about any of these guys? I know Vance McDonald was drafted. Nick Vannett was like whatever. I think walk away from it, man. Like.
Dude, I said on the recap last week with Walsh, I was just like, drop Vance McDonald. It's very like it's not clarified. They had Nick Vannett coming in. Nick Vannett wound up starting. You weren't able to play Vance McDonald if you held him. He's just clogging up bench. Like it's tight end, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, and like if it's not like it's like Evan Ingram or like Delaney Walker even on the lower end or Greg Olsen even got like banged up and are gonna miss a week and like they'll have value when they get back. Vance McDonald is whatever anyway, and he's on that fringe. So
yeah, he
walk
can
away from it.
Very, very droppable.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it on the Steelers. You got anything else in this game?
No.
All right. Pick it.
Ravens.
I'm going to go Ravens as well. Let's flip it over to the least watchable game as far as like fun stuff, national audience. Buffalo Bills at Tennessee Titans. The Titans are a 3-point favorite. Let's start with the Bills here. Josh Allen still in concussion protocol. He's been on the streaming conversation all the way. What do you think about this if he goes, say hypothetically he goes?
If he goes, still technically a pretty rough matchup against the Titans defense. It's been a little hard to read. Sometimes they give up plays, sometimes they don't. Still a tough defense, I think. And I think I'd rather play Andy Dalton than Josh Allen this week, visiting the Titans. Like that's a rough spot to be in. I'd probably look for an upside play. Probably even Jameis too. I think that's where I draw the line. Wouldn't you though? Wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. But both those sentences are just hard to hear. Like you were just like,
I feel like I say them every podcast.
I'd rather play Andy Dalton. I'd rather play Jameis, and I'm like, correct. But this is so hard to like compare. So before I agree. So before we get to the rest of the team, I just want to say that I truly do think that whether Josh Allen plays,
it's a rough matchup regardless.
It is a rough matchup. But whether he plays and why can't he? It's funny. I know that. All right, his name is Matt Barkley. But I kept thinking Kyler Murray in my head just because I think I'm obsessed with Kyler Murray. It's Matt Barkley. I don't think that there's much of a difference for the rest of this offense with either of these quarterbacks. Do you think so?
No.
As far as value and what we're about to talk about. So let's get to the passing game first. John Brown, sneaky pick. Everybody loved him going in. Stephon Gilmore matchup was scary. He did okay. What do you think about John Brown going to this? I'm saying he did okay in the sense where
he's shown that he can
yards
still
against Stephon Gilmore. Nobody thought that was happening.
Yeah, man, the dude can. He still gets targets, and like me, like I don't know. I think me and Walsh were talking about it, and it's just like he's getting targets. He's been a low volume guy and has shown explosive plays. If he's getting targets and shit, like the dude's an every week starter.
Yeah, especially in PPR formats, and like the fact that, like we said, he's had 50 yards every single game minimum, and that comes over like 5 to 6 catches. Yes, it's like low depth of target, whatever. But like you said, that is where we're talking about dudes like Will Fuller and like Emmanuel Sanders has worse games than that. That's like mid wide receiver 4 range right there at the worst.
Yep.
So that's good. You're talking about low volume. Let's just kick it over to Cole Beasley real quick. Cole Beasley's been kind of better. Cole Beasley, double-digit PPR points the last 3 weeks.
That's what he does, dude. It was funny. This is probably my best call of the offseason, which speaks volumes about how shitty I am at this. Because Trek's just like, right before we started the season, he's just like, tell me a guy you're drafting like super late. I'm like, fucking Cole Beasley. I think they're going to run this weird offense where they want to dump it off. And that's what they've done. And Cole Beasley has been, like in full PPR, Cole Beasley's like a dude you've been rocking.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just a little bit taken aback by, I don't know how to react to that being one of your better calls. I didn't have any better calls, but just like where you're like, Cole Beasley is the one where I remember what I said in August.
It's just the one where I'm like really shooting in the dark. I'm like, probably this. And it's probably the one I've hit like most.
But to your point, like he's not really owned. I'm in leagues where I start Randall Cobb, right? Yeah. And I think that that's an okay start in certain situations. And we'll talk about that when we get to the Cowboys. Cole Beasley, way better. All the way around.
Absolutely.
With that situation. So, like, I agree with you. I'm messing with you on what I'm saying, but I like that a lot. To get to this running game, so either of these guys, would you rather this week start John? I think John Brown, Cole Beasley, I view them as equals.
No, I really do too. Obviously, Cole Beasley has the floor. John Brown has the ceiling. They could totally meet in the middle like they have been for most of the season, so they're both just good plays at that point.
You summed it up perfectly. So let's just get into that running game real quick. Devin Singletary should be back this week. Frank Gore doesn't go away.
He will never, dude.
Dude, can I tell you something? I've never owned Frank Gore one day of my fantasy career. I've played fantasy for like 14 years. I've some years had like 2 teams. Most years had like 9 teams. Some year lately had like 6 or 7 teams. Never owned one share of Frank Gore in my entire life, and I hate it all the time.
You missed out. You missed out on all the good times.
Missing out. Me and him are not boys. But Devin Singletary should be back this week. What are your thoughts about owning these guys and starting these guys?
I would never be pumped to start Frank Gore ever. Singletary either for that, like for like the foreseeable future. So I don't want to start either, and they're not good plays. So I'm not about either. I'm just staying away from this game completely. I don't care if Josh Allen plays. Not going to change much for the run game for me. Could one fall in the end zone? Of course. I'm not betting on that.
No, but you like Singletary as an own season long?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of bought in, and I think once he gets back and healthy, he'll get worked back in. And I think if you're in it for the long haul, it could pay off eventually. And, eventually they're not going to be giving Frank Gore the lion's share of the carries. TJ Yeldon is fucking trash. So yeah. Singletary is still a guy who has been super effective when given the ball, and all they need to do is give him the ball way more, and he'll be fine.
And I also do think, to your point, is that obviously he should be owned. But, once he comes into his own, which will not be this week, don't start him this week, I think that he will prove himself to be a very, very high-end RB3.
Yeah, the dude's high efficiency, and that's shit that, will warrant you more carries, and that's where he's trending towards.
Yeah. So let's flip it over to the Titans. Clear-cut team, I think, right now. Derrick Henry.
That's it.
That's it. Delaney Walker.
If you have to, which you probably do. So yeah, you're right. Clean cut.
Walker, you can't come across that volume with a tight end in the low tight end one pool. That's all I'm saying.
I might consider Tyler Eifert over Delaney Walker this week.
So here's what I'm saying. I don't hate that, right? But I don't judge either start against each other. I think Eifert could have a better week, but if you had a choice between Eifert and Walker, I don't think you can do right or wrong.
Yeah.
As far as where you're coming from.
Do I want to throw up or shit my pants? It's just it's not good either way, but just it's all preference.
Exactly. You get the catharsis of getting it out, and it'll feel good on Monday, but either way, it's not going to feel good when it's happening. You're going to watch this game and just be like, oh, no. But, yeah, you're right. So both fine plays, whatever. The only thing else that I really want to say about this game is, don't you dare buy into Corey Davis, you stupid bitch.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Anybody. Just anybody.
Drop the dude. I don't like any of it. Don't buy into A.J. Brown either.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good call. He's not had more than 4 or 5 targets any single game. Or he had so here's his targets through each game, 4 weeks. 4, 5, 5, 3. And last week he called the 2 touchdowns and went off like he did. 3 targets, 3 catches. Don't you dare.
Yeah. Falcons made him look good. He's going to be He's going to be picked up. Let them pick him up. It's not a big deal. When the hell are you going to plug this guy in and be like, I'm going to win my week? Yeah. Never.
If in the rare event you can trade that guy or package him in the trade,
maybe in a dynasty situation you can sort of, but at that point I think
it's a good value to where before when you said Mark Ingram sell high, if you're I'll give you Mark Ingram and AJ Brown, you and dance a ball of yarn in front of that dude and just be whoa,
ball of yarn and a laser, make him
package him as a cherry. But yeah, I don't want to touch anything on the Titans ever.
No. Inconsistent and pretty bad overall.
Yeah. Pick this game.
Bills.
I say Titans win 2-0.
I like it, dude. Do they safety Frank Gore? Because I think that's impossible.
No, I think somehow they get 2 extra points only.
I don't hate that call. That's probably the safest call of the podcast.
Yeah. Moving on. Patriots at Redskins. Talk about the complete opposite.
Cool. Moving on. What do we got next?
Yeah. So let's just get to the Patriots. Play everybody. Start here. I don't know what to do. You got to play Tom Brady.
You got to play
Edelman,
Josh Gordon. You could probably sneak in a little frisky Dorsett if you want.
Not the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, definitely not.
Let's real quick break it down. Dorsett or Auden Tate?
Dorsett.
Really?
I would, yeah, dude. He's been
Dorsett
or
Fuller?
Oh, dude, I have this weird spot for Fuller. I'd probably go Fuller.
Okay. Dorsett or DJ Shark? With that matchup.
Dorsett.
Damn. Okay. I think I don't disagree, but I think that kind of, I just wanted to kind of encapsulate where we're at with him based off where we talked about other dudes. Okay. Don't hate it at all, but that's where it's at. And
that is where it's at. Yeah.
Third wide receiver on the Patriots may be better than other options. Cool. I like it. So you were saying maybe on other guys. Let's talk about the running game. We got White and Michelle are the most relevant. Burkhead, I don't think we're going to get crazy enough to go with. So talk about those first two.
So Sony Michel's kind of had a rough go, and it's not even been like the worst go to start a season, especially on the Patriots who tend to run the ball as the season goes on. I think I've said this every podcast so far, and I feel like he's a buy low for me. It's a shitty buy low because you don't feel great about it, but I really do think Sony Michel has put the bad games behind him because it's weird when the Patriots play bad teams, they beat them up in ways that you don't expect.
Right.
And Sony Michel will have good games. Like he'll have a good game against the Bears. I don't even know if they play them, but like Sony Michel could wind up with that's how the Patriots, that's how they fucking function. So if anybody's frustrated with Sony Michel, go out there and buy him. It's going to suck now, but I feel like if you flex him, RB2 him every single week, you probably won't regret it. For like more often than not, you won't regret it for the remainder of the season. It's a tough thing that needs to be done. I like Sony Michel.
So here's what I'll say to your point. I agree. Your logic is correct. You're not wrong. But I want to get away from that shit for sure. Like teams like the Jets and the Dolphins and everyone that they fucked up so far this year. Like Michel should have blown up. I had said it. He should have had like 4 rushing touchdowns or at least like 24 carries and shit like that. And it just doesn't go that way. To your point, everything you said is correct. I don't want to touch that shit. I'd rather play David Montgomery. I'd rather play Wayne Gallman. I'd rather play
for this week.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, even for this week, I don't want to touch it. I am fringing Jalen Samuels territory with Sony Michel.
I'll take that bet, dude.
Fine. I will bet you Jalen Samuels has more fantasy points than Sony Michel this week.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Full Sony PPR. Michel. I regret it immediately. But still, my point is that I don't want to touch this shit. It upsets me. I don't want to do it. It bothers me. It's not logical. And fantasy, the best thing, like everything we've talked about is you can sleep at night on logic. Like don't play AJ Brown. Play your Will Fuller because his targets are there. Like play Kyler Murray because his floor is high. Like don't play Sony Michel against the Jets thinking that he should logically get 26 points and then he gets like I can't say what he did.
7.
But 7? I didn't even know that. When I came up with it, are you kidding me?
I mean, that's pretty much.
Was that a game where James White was gone?
Which one? Yeah, it was, right?
Oh my God! No, walk away. Take anything. Take anything. Get out of there. You serious?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God! That's all I have to say. Is that your logic is correct? You're probably right. God damn it! Don't let me do that. I can't. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little it's a little ballsy to make like a move like that. Like this guy will be cool in December. Like it's a tough fucking call. It's a rough fucking call, but it's what we've seen from the Patriots, and they're just a very obscure team. And if you can't handle it, I totally get it. I can't handle it. I'm just saying what I know is probably going to happen. Am I pulling the trigger on what I'm saying? Probably not, but I'd like to get it out there to people that might.
I'd rather David Montgomery as my running back week to week than Michel.
Just so you can sleep.
Yes, so I can sleep at night. And when it doesn't work and Michel gets that 1 week, I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't have to watch the Bills-Patriots game, and I could go to bed.
Yeah. It's like, oh, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. So let's flip over to the Redskins. This week, nobody.
I really don't think so. Even if McLaurin comes back, you can afford to sit him. He's been a pickup for you anyway.
Yeah.
You don't even know who's playing quarterback. Jay Gruden has no idea who's playing quarterback. He is the worst coach in football right now.
Hey, McLaurin, good sneak grab. Stephon Gilmore matchup. No. Banged up. No.
Know when to quit. Know when to quit. This is probably.
No play anybody. If there is, the most valuable guy would be Chris Thompson just because they'll be down fat. And Case Keenum is going to play this game. I think he's going to be the quarterback. But
I was thinking Colt McCoy.
That's honestly probably true.
The fact that all 3 of them are options. I mean, Keenum's in a
Dwayne Haskins need to be the last option. Don't do this to the man.
Jay Gruden is so awful.
You can't put Dwayne Haskins in there, dude. He'll die. He'll die.
I know.
That's like it's like putting a high school kid in like Calc 5. It's like or Calc 4. Just like, yeah, go ahead. Like you're a genius, but like just fucking fail.
The kid's gonna be smoking meth by the end of the week.
Exactly. So all right, cool. So no Redskins were playing. Let's pick this game. Jesus Christ.
Sweep it.
Broncos at Chargers. Interesting, weird game. Let's start with the Broncos here right now. Joe Flacco, you have here he's been playing well than he should be. I agree with that, but not fantasy relevant.
No, not at all. But like the people he's been supporting, Emmanuel Sanders, Courtland Sutton, both running backs have been good. They've been the best worst team in the league. And I will hear no other argument. They have lost games in the last minute. There is a possibility they could be 4-0 as opposed to 0-4.
I agree. I mean, they ran the Packers to the wire. They got screwed by the Bears. The Jaguars thing, they didn't get screwed any, existential situations, but they could have won that game. I agree. Best worst team in the league.
Best worst team in the league, hands down. Joe Flacco is less washed than I thought. Still, showing Joe Flacco things. But, dude, he's supported Emmanuel Sanders, Courtland Sutton to top 15 already. Like, they're both fucking good.
Yeah, so let's talk about them this week. Sanders a little bit banged up, left that game a little bit early with that quad injury. He's had a bad history against the Chargers. He's going up against the perceived matchup of Casey Hayward, ex-Packer guy who I love. I don't think he'll hold too much stock in that, but he's pretty much feast or famine. I own Sanders in one league where I own Will Fuller and Courtland Sutton, and every single week I play it wrong. I play Sanders when he's very, very bad, and then when he's really, really good, I sit him, and I co-own the team with one of my friend's dads, and he's just like, "Fuck you, dude. But you're bad at this." I'm like, I know, I'm good at this. I'm so good.
Just be like, you fucking figure it out.
Exactly. But what do you think about Sanders? I mean, he doesn't really do that much in this situation against the Chargers, and is a little bit banged up.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets shadow from Hayward, it's going to be rough. But Sanders he won't fuck you. He'll still have a high floor, but I think his ceiling is pretty much gone for this game. Courtland Sutton, I think, is a better play. He won't see Hayward, and will probably have more touchdown upside than Sanders. I'm in a weird situation, even in our league. This is very specific, but if Sam Darnold plays, they're going against the Eagles. I'm considering Robbie Anderson against Emmanuel Sanders.
So, again, I don't think that's ridiculous based on what you just said, is the fact that
shadow coverage,
dude. Home run, shadow coverage, but I really do put Sanders – if I had to, actually make a smart bet, I would put Sanders full point PPR total between 6 and 12. And I would put Robbie Anderson's between 4 and 19.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. For real. I don't think that's a ridiculous decision.
It's one that I probably won't pull the trigger on, but it's one that's keep me tossing and turning. But that's kind of where I think this match, if you have a higher up, like we've been talking constantly about Will Fuller or Auden Tate or who is the third? Isabella. Any of those other guys possibly consider over Emmanuel Sanders just because the shadow coverage is a little tough, dude, from Hayward. I wouldn't hate it, but it's so hard to sit a guy who's been doing so well. Yeah,
I think that sums it up perfectly. To move on to Sutton real quick, I just want to say I was a huge Sutton guy preseason. RedZone targets really up. His target share has been pretty consistent, 8, 9. He finally caught and found pay dirt. He caught 2 touchdowns last week. I really like him this week. Not only this week, but this year. I think that he's a bona fide wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he's on pace for some crazy shit. So, I really like the Sutton play now. And like you said, for the rest of the season, too.
Yeah. Moving up from that, let's get into the run game. Well, first, let's talk Noah Fant. Low end of the tight end pool of that roulette spin that we talked about, right?
Just as likely to get a touchdown as he is to get 0 points.
Right, exactly. I actually was mad. I lost a matchup last week, full point PPR. I lost a matchup by 6 points, and I chose Vernon Davis over Noah Fant, and that was everything. And I was just like, why didn't I know? Why didn't I know the babies? No, I get that, but Vernon Davis wasn't going to do shit. We watched Vernon Davis hurdle nothingness, and Jeremy Sprinkle get 5 catches. I talked about it on the podcast. I'll text you after this. Forget it. Let's get into the run game. Phillip Lindsay in this. What do you put him and Royce Freeman? You talked about that run game.
Dude, they are literally 50-50. So Royce Freeman still hasn't hit pay dirt. Phillip Lindsay blew up against the Packers. It is what it is, man. And that was Phillip Lindsay blew up when Royce Freeman left the game against the Packers. They both probably could have split point totals at that point. I think you can get away with either of them as a flex. Probably Lindsay more so. You probably feel a little bit better. But Freeman's the guy you put in a flex and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? But you will never leave screwed. He's been scoring around 8 points, half PPR throughout the year and has room to get a touchdown. And I think his floor is pretty much solidified at 8 points.
I agree. I put both of them at like the lowest possible end of running back 2.
Yes, I full fucking agree.
Okay, so with that, we got nothing else on. Oh no, Chargers. Shit, let's flip over to the Chargers. Shit, Rivers.
Nothing else on the Broncos.
My bad. Rivers. I've never been what we talked about before with Frank Gore. That's been me with Rivers. No Rivers ever.
Huge Rivers guy, dude. But this, I don't know, man. They lost Bradley Chubb, but Broncos defense, they could still give you fits. Divisional game, usually low scoring comparatively to like other games. I would not be throwing Phillip out there, and I think it's going to sort of affect the other guys as well. I think this is in the passing game. I more so think it's going to be a huge Melvin Gordon game.
Really?
Yeah, I think they throw him out there. They're just like, let's fucking go, dude. You held out. You're ready to ball, and I think he just will.
Let's talk about that.
Not to say, all right, let me just get my full take out.
Yeah. Let's just go run game. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
You did.
You're playing Keenan Allen, whatever. Mike Williams, don't touch him. Phillip Rivers, don't play. Run game. Melvin Gordon, dude, I think he's going to go off. I think they run him so much. Fournette had a great fucking game. I think Melvin Gordon's fresh as shit. Ready to rock. They throw him in there. I think he's great. Austin Eckler, I think it's sprinkled in, can still hit you like a nice middling, like RB2 kind of game, but you're not expecting anything else. I think people are expecting Austin Eckler to get peppered in and still be relevant. Dude, I think Melvin Gordon just comes in, fucks house. Austin Eckler is just borderline fringe flex for the rest of the season.
Wow. Oh my God. I completely disagree.
Do you really?
Yeah, just because why Eckler has been so good.
He's great, dude. But like,
right? And here's the thing I'll say. Here's the thing I'll say on this, right?
Sure.
As a guy that it's a different situation, but I own Tyreek Hill, and we're gonna get into this a little bit later. And like Tyreek Hill's practicing, and say he plays this week, I'm not gonna play Tyreek Hill if he's active in the game this week.
I think you should.
So we'll talk. We'll get there. Here's the thing: if you drafted Melvin Gordon, you were expecting to potentially miss him the whole year. You were expecting to, at the really, I'm talking to you if you own Melvin Gordon, you thought at least 8 to 10 weeks, right? Week 4 activation is crazy. Week 5 relevancy is insane, right? To what you took him as and what you thought would happen.
Absolutely.
I don't see any reason why you should buy into that. Eckler has been great. Eckler, you're saying fringe running back 2 flex. Eckler has been a strong running back 2 when Melvin Gordon was at his best and they were both extremely healthy. So Eckler, no reason. If you have Eckler, play Eckler. You should play Eckler. I do not see any reason to believe that Gordon is going to get that full fat workload whatsoever. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying that if you constructed your team in the sense where you anticipated Melvin Gordon missing probably 8 to 10 weeks, best case scenario, why buy into it right now? Why throw the fucking dart right now? I don't want to do it. I'm not buying into it. Gordon has been not amazingly studly when he's healthy and in shape.
What? Dude, he was incredible last year.
Yes. But I'm just saying injury prone. I'm saying when he is hitting his stride, he is a high-end RB2. Low-end RB1 is my point. I own Melvin Gordon in one league, and I am in a way good enough situation to not play him this week.
How many Melvin Gordon owning teams are in that great situation? I think a lot of them are just like, oh my God, thank God he's going to be
No, if you held him, you've been getting by. And here's the thing: if you're
how can you say that?
Because he was going like realistically, if you drafted like Labor Day on, right,
4th round,
he was gone. No, dude, he went in like 6th, 7th round after that. He was not your RB2. And if he was, you were drafting dudes that could be relevant for you, like Mark Ingram was going around that whole time. My thing is this: unless you're 0-4 and you need a Hail Mary, if you're like a 2-2 team, why would you take the risk? Why would you take the risk? I would rather play. Let's look through it right now. I put him in the Jalen Samuels conversation. I put him in the James White conversation.
Melvin Gordon.
Yes. If he's active this week, I put him in the Phillip Lindsay conversation. I put him in the Jalen Samuels is a bit of a stretch.
Absolutely a stretch.
Fine. Shut up. Scratch for the record. Shrek, edit it out. I put him in the Phillip Lindsay conversation. I put him in the James White conversation in PPR.
No.
Yes. There's no reason to. Why buy into that? Hopefully, unless you're 0-4 and you need to throw a Hail Mary. If you're a 2-2 team, get by on what got you there. That's my thing. That's all I'm saying. I'm playing.
And why do you have Melvin Gordon? Why do you have him?
But here's the thing. On the inverse, I'm gonna hedge my bet because I'm gonna be safer.
Here we go.
Is that I'm saying when you drafted him, you did not think you were gonna have him in week 5,
and you do. So fucking play him.
But you don't know what you have.
You have Melvin Gordon.
I say no.
You have Melvin Gordon in a matchup where Leonard Fournette, who cannot turn left or right to save his fucking life, going off for almost 200 fucking yards. You better believe Melvin Gordon goes off this.
Okay, fine. That's a fat ass dude. I'll give you that. But my vote is unless you absolutely need it, don't, and play something with a higher floor, and also play Eckler. Eckler.
I mean, I didn't mean
for sure. You're shading Eckler saying
no. I didn't really mean to.
Good. We can both come back on our shit. Yeah. Play Austin Eckler.
Yes, he's still running back 2 flex.
If you have 2 dudes better than Melvin Gordon's questions, play them. I'm not buying into Gordon yet. And here's the thing. If you own him, you hoped you were in this situation in week 9. See it out one more week. Why not? Let him go up and put up 20 carries on your bench and then fucking go in and confidently play him next week. That's my take.
All right.
I'm not right. I'm probably right. But I'm not completely right.
None of us are right yet. Next week Sunday we'll probably just be screaming at each other.
Yeah, he's like, whatever.
One of us is gonna be so fucking wrong. That's
the thing. There's no middle ground here.
No.
All right.
But that's probably why we're saying what we're saying.
We know where we're at. Good talk. Let's move to the passing game. Keenan Allen, yes. Only other thing to talk here is the wide receiver 2. If Mike Williams goes, do you play him?
No.
But here's the question I ask you then. If Mike Williams doesn't go, are you maybe sneaking Dontrell Inman in the way that we talked about Auden Tate?
Didn't Dontrell Inman just get placed on IR?
Did he? Then I regret my decision to say that, but I'm pretty sure that he was ripping fat targets like Don on a Juul pod before they were killing him.
Yeah, Dontrell Inman is sitting on IR.
Then my apologies. I wrote that down this morning, and I was like, no one's going to think this is coming. So forget it. That's it.
It's all good, man. Yeah, that just shows. Just play Keenan Allen and roll with it.
That's it on the Chargers. So let's pick this game, dude. I'm picking the Broncos.
Oh, my God, dude. Chargers. What is this shit?
Broncos aren't going 0-5.
They might, and it's going to be close again. I think they're going to lose by 3.
Oh, God. Whatever. All right, we had our first disagreement. Let's take a quick break in this podcast. We're going to break for a live sponsor read. This podcast is courtesy of MyBookie. If you're the kind of guy that likes to bet a little and win a lot, try parlay. If all your picks come through, you'll multiply your winnings. And no matter how you bet, the NFL season is the best time of the year. Bet MyBookie. Do it. Don't fuck around. We will be right back with part 2 of Week 5.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, home of the brutally honest fantasy advice you've always needed.
All right, and we are back with part 2 of the Week 5 preview. If you just heard me and Vinny just argue really hard for the first time about Melvin Gordon, we took our little live read break to fist fight via Zoom call, and I think we're back now. I have a bloody nose that I gave myself, but it doesn't really matter. Let's wrap up these last 3 games, Vinny. We heard our MyBookie live read sponsor. Check them out. So let's jump right back in. Packers at the Cowboys. This game makes me scared as a Packer fan. Don't know what to expect of it. So let's just jump right in with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers. What do you say about Aaron Rodgers, really? I mean, let me chalk it up to you first. What do you got?
The first thing I wrote in the outline was I can't get a read on this game. I'm worried for both sides, and for that reason, I'm worried about playing people on either side. Aaron Rodgers loses his best weapon in Devontae Adams, and then you see Dak struggle, in an away game against the Saints, which I guess was tough. but we expected a little more out of him. So I'll pose the question: who do you think is a better start, Aaron Rodgers or Dak?
I'll say Dak, and it sucks to say it solely because. So let's just jump on the Cowboys then. The Packers.
Sorry, my bad. We just totally.
No, I started out. I threw Aaron Rodgers up to you. Dak, like if you watch any like Sunday Night Football, they're just like, oh my God, Dak, play action, like passer rating, oh my God, and like it's true, right?
It's always been that,
and it seems like easy in your face. But the Packers are really good against the pass. They're really bad against the run right now. And I think Zeke completely feasts. Obviously, you're starting him anyway. But I do think that opens up Dak to have a more relevant game. The Packers, historically, I can't speak to this defense, but just from watching them, rushing quarterbacks that can run and scramble, they've always been bad against. I think Dak just bounces back. I don't think that it's incredibly, like, passing efficient game like you would maybe think. But I do think that Dak levels out all the way around where he has, like, 50 yards rushing and possibility of a touchdown rushing there. You can't count on that ever. But, like, I think he works out to get, like, 20, 22 fantasy points here, personally.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm at, too. I could also see Rodgers having, like, a very similar game where he gets out and has to do a little bit more, which is probably where you like to have your Aaron Rodgers as opposed to sitting back and, like, kind of working a run game where it's been a weird balance this year. So I think in a game where he's expected to do more in an away game against the Cowboys, that's pretty much after dropping a game to the Eagles, that was rough. I think he's going to have a lot more weight put on him. And I think in a pressure situation, we could get more out of Aaron Rodgers. Do you want to bank on that in fantasy? Probably not. So Dak is probably the more logical start. But I don't think Rodgers is the worst start.
But, yeah, to what you're saying is you're starting Aaron Rodgers. Like, if you own him, you have to roll him out there. You're not sitting him for anything else you have. Like, if you're an Aaron Rodgers owner, you don't have a better option.
Anyone that we've talked about streaming, you play Aaron Rodgers over him.
Yeah. So here's what scares me, to your point, is that I think that in this game, from what I've been reading from, like, Packers Twitter and, like, everything like that, I think Davante Adams is active for this game.
Are you kidding me?
I think – I'm not positive, just on the early indications. And
wow, that's impressive.
No, I think it's going to suck because I think that Davante Adams is going to be incredibly limited. Decoy. We've seen it, honestly, in situations where, like, when you're watching games, Davante Adams comes out in the red zone real quick. And that's fine. He's obviously a stud, and if he's active, you got to start him. But I think that as far as the Packers passing game goes, this is the hardest game to gauge so far. I think Davante Adams goes. I think he plays, and I think it's going to fuck everything up.
So, in that respect, dude, I'm just like treating him as if he's out. Like
you should.
It's Sunday night. You don't know if he's going to be active. You're assuming he would be. I would not be waiting around for that. And like, unless you have somebody like MVS or Allison to back up Adams, I'm not holding him. I'm playing anyone else we talked about over him, regardless of if he's active.
What, Davante?
Yes.
Like you're playing him if he's active.
No. I'm playing like Isabella, Auden Tate, like because this game is over Adams. If I have Adams,
no, dude, how can you do that?
It's a Sunday night game, and I'm not willing to bank. Like, what could you possibly?
Okay. If it's a game time decision, like walking up to kickoff.
Oh no. All right, so you're all right. If
I'm
it's
saying
leading
like
up,
Sunday morning, if people saying that he's likely to play,
dude. If we don't know if he's going to play Sunday, I'm playing anyone in the 1 o'clock, 4 o'clocks over him.
I agree with that based on what I said. That I do think that if it is like a strictly like before kickoff game time decision that Adams goes, I don't think that it's going to be the Davante Adams that you're playing. So I agree. I like what you're saying is that I'm not saying I'm playing Andy Isabella over him.
Okay.
If I have any indication, like I'm saying there's guys where like, so let me look at it this way. We'll talk about the Monday night game in a second, but like if I have Davante Adams and Andy Isabella on my team and Davante Adams is a maybe, right? I am willing to walk up Davante Adams to game time. And then if that doesn't work, pick up like fucking Deebo Samuel as like insurance over there. Like Davante, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I got
if Davante Adams goes, you have to play him. I'm not playing guys like Andy Isabella over Davante Adams unless it's like doubtful. So
and I also fucked up. They're not the late night. That's Colts Chiefs.
But still, there's only 2 4:30 games.
Right? Yeah, they're in the 4 o'clock slate, so it's still you're not holding on to hope.
There's only 4 games past the 1 o'clock game, so you could count it as the same idea.
Yep.
I think Devontae Adams is going to be active, and I think it's going to fuck everything up. So let's talk as if Devontae Adams is – I honestly also on the Packers offense don't think it matters either way. Devontae Adams is active. You got to play him if you have him, and you know that, right? You agree with that?
Now I do, yes.
Whether he's active or not, MVS, how do you feel? Cowboys have been staunch against the pass.
Yeah,
the volume is there.
The volume is there. Everything that we've talked about is pretty much trending that he's a good play. It's maybe not a high upside play, but it's still a good one. So I think I would probably be looking to roll him out there.
Yeah, I put him as a low-end wide receiver 3. If Devontae Adams does not go,
does that hurt or help him, you think?
I think that it's kind of indifferent. The only thing that helps is that there's more volume there. As a Packer fan, the biggest issue is that Rodgers obviously does not have chemistry with any of those other guys.
He really doesn't.
He really doesn't, and it sucks to watch. But if Devontae Adams is gone, he'll see better coverage, but the volume will be there more. I still think MVS's volume as far as like 7 or 8 targets is something that you can count on regardless of the situation. So I think, however, if you're deciding to play MVS Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, that shouldn't change no matter what it is, wherever you play him as your wide receiver 2 or your wide receiver 3 or your flex, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're making the decision as if Adams is a go. Geronimo Allison is another question, whereas Allison, I feel like, is more or better big play dependent. I think he's a bad wide receiver.
He's not the best, and like when you think that he is, he's making a broken play happen or catching a touchdown, and that's really not what good wide receivers bank on. So yeah. I think you're totally right.
Yeah, I hope there's more clarity going into it. I think so. Let's just – we're talking all over the place. Let's phrase it this way. If Adams goes, are you still playing MVS?
I think so, yeah.
Probably. If Adams goes, are you still playing Allison?
Probably not.
I think no. If Adams does not go, are you –
Allison, he becomes like a flex idea if you have like some sort of, later window opportunity to flex in and out.
Right. Absolutely. Hopefully you have like another thing where, like you said, like I would take both of those guys, especially with Adams out, honestly, over Jarvis Landry this week. If Adams is gone and you have Jarvis Landry in your lineup and you were to have MVS or Allison, I'd play both those guys over Jarvis Landry this week.
I don't hate it.
All right. So moving on through the passing game, Jimmy Graham.
I think he's back, dude. I like it. And all right, I will say I like Jimmy Graham if Adams is out.
Yeah, I mean, if Adams is out, Jimmy Graham becomes like a top 7 or 8 tight end overall for the week. For the red zone work.
And that's pretty much, I think, where we can leave that. Like Jimmy Graham, otherwise, is pretty much useless.
Yeah, and like he's come around to his own. And what sucks about him was that he was unhealthy when he was like shitty to own and play, and he was putting up zeros and stuff. And once he got healthy, he's just not a fit there. He's not a fit. Rodgers likes him in the red zone fine. You saw him chuck up like a couple like jump balls, and Jimmy Graham against like a 5'10" corner can't fucking do shit. I don't want to fuck with it unless Adams is out before 1 o'clock games.
Yep.
Aaron Jones, you're rolling, right?
Dude, this is what you wanted. Like this is going to be full workload Aaron Jones. So Williams, definitely going to be out, right? I think
for sure.
So this is Aaron Jones' time, dude.
The prognosis on Jamal Williams is actually like better than you would have thought it was, but there is zero chance that dude plays this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say once you get stretchered, I feel like it's just like a game buffer as it is. But
yeah, and they like have nobody. Like people talk about Dexter Williams, he'll be active.
Why?
But what?
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing to clean.
Yeah, why? Like they've drafted good as far as like their depth of running back, but not for week 5 of this year.
Right.
At all. So it's the Aaron Jones show, hopefully, finally. What sucks is I think that they may shy away from that whole game and do their fucking Aaron Rodgers play calling. But that doesn't matter. Roll Aaron Jones out. He's the running back. They just don't fucking feed him like they should. He's so good at the goal line.
And that was the problem.
That Eagles game when they did not even give it to him within like the 3-yard line infuriated.
Embarrassing, dude.
He's one of the best running backs within like the 5 in the NFL, but whatever. Jimmy Graham, I hope you already dropped him. That's my issue. I hope you already lost faith in him and you don't have to deal with the decision.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that as well.
Yeah. Also, like if you were rolling the Packers defense, which I have them in a bunch of leagues, they have a pretty shitty schedule coming up. The Cowboys like highlights that, and be willing to drop them. That's just saying.
Yeah.
Flip it over to the Cowboys side. We talked about Dak real quick. I like Dak in this matchup a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's probably better than I insinuated before. Definitely a higher upside than Rodgers, who I compared him to, like you said. If you have Dak, I'm pretty sure you're rolling Dak.
Yeah, and you're probably a dude that waited on Dak like past the Lamar Jackson range, just like keep ripping it. Zeke, you're starting, obviously. So let's go to that passing game. What's up? Yeah, of course.
Coop.
So Coop faces Jari Alexander, who
lockdown,
dude.
Very fucking good.
And we just saw Marshawn Lattimore kind of like step up to the task. He's been like mediocre, or I shouldn't say mediocre. I'm saying boomer bust Marshawn Lattimore coverage sort of shit.
He was having a rough season, and then he just met Cooper and just shut him the fuck down.
Yeah, and you got to still play Cooper. Cooper's filth. Jari Alexander, though, is the truth. I just want to say this. I think he's going to end up being like a top 5 corner in the NFL over like the next year and a half.
Yeah, I feel like Cooper has a down week, but there's no fucking way you're sitting him.
No. And as far as the rest of the Cowboys passing game goes, Devin Smith was a guy Shrek and I talked about. I regretfully said that like it made sense, like his workload a little bit would happen, and obviously put up a 0 dud. Bad call. What's Michael Gallup's situation? You know more about that.
Yeah, so he's limited, and Jerry Jones is talking as if he's going to play. So keep that in mind. If you're a Michael Gallup owner, I'm sure you figured out something a lot better to deal with him being out for the first couple of weeks. So I wouldn't play him in this matchup. It's a little rough against the Packers. You might see a little less coverage, obviously than Cooper's going to attract. But dude, it's not anything I would look to. Yeah, no, not exploiting in this matchup.
Do you think that a Randall Cobb revenge game is in play?
Maybe in daily. I'm not doing it season long.
So here's the thing. I don't hate it in season long.
Well, you own. It sounds like you own a lot more Randall Cobb than I do. So let me hear your perspective on it.
So here's the thing. I own a lot more Randall Cobb, and it's definitely a little bit of a bias, right? I like the fact that he has a defined role in a good offense. Like Shrek and I talked about this last week. Like he's never going to – like he's sitting there like Witten, who we'll talk about in a second, like 6 or 7 targets. You watch that Sunday night game, he had a wide open touchdown route that Dak missed that would have been like – do you remember that play?
Game winner.
Streaking across the touch. I thought it was early because I like missed the end of that game, but it was
the way the game ended, it could have been a game winner.
I missed the game. Oh yeah, but I missed the end of the game. But like Cobb was wide open in the back end. I like him as far as his like floor ceiling, where his floor is low. His floor is low, like 6 or 7 PPR points low, but. In this game, I just wonder if this is like the one game where they try and feature him a little bit more when like the second wide receiver is in flux. I'm not saying count on it, but I think there's like worse situations. Like I honestly put him in the Fuller Sanders range.
I was just about to say that. Would you do you prefer him over any of the guys we've talked about like throughout these podcasts?
I can't say I prefer him over Fuller because Fuller's got way more upside. I can't say I prefer him over Sanders because while both of their roles are consistent, and Sanders is just better at football. Cobb, I think, if I had to put realistically, I'm not saying I'm banking on it, but Cobb's going to catch a touchdown. Cobb's going to have 7 catches this game. Cobb's going to have 16 PPR points, I guess.
He was very just disappointed that the Packers let him go. He took it very personally. I felt like. I think he said that too.
He did, yeah. I mean, I was very upset they let go. Well, not to spend time on this, but him and Clay Matthews and that whole old school Packers Super Bowl era team. I was very upset about that. But that defense, they built that up so good and fucking whatever.
Yep.
I read one thing that was if Devontae Adams misses more time than we thought, will they call Jordy Nelson? And I was like, don't do that to Fantasy World.
Oh, my God. Leave Jordy Nelson alone, dude.
Oh, I think it would happen. If Devontae Adams was I'm going to miss 4 or 5 weeks, I think they would.
Jesus Christ. That's just Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the GM, the owner, the play caller.
Old school LeBron. So I'm saying don't play Cobb. I put Cobb as like the lowest end of flex plays this week.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't love it.
So last thing we got to talk about is Witten.
Play him.
Yeah.
Witten is almost every week, dude. He's putting up at least five points.
I just he's got like
That's what tight ends do. It's what tight ends
4
do.
or 5 targets. We saw him fumble. That dude's old as fuck. I don't love it. I like Eifert. I'll play Ricky Seals-Jones, dude. Like,
okay. No.
Okay, fine, whatever. I'm not wasting any time on that conversation.
Move along.
Let's pick this game. Packers.
I'll take Cowboys here.
Dick. Sunday night game, Colts Chiefs. Okay, let's talk about it. Tyreek Hill practicing, may play. Let's just rip it out right there because you know you're starting Mahomes. If Tyreek Hill were to be active for this game, are you playing him?
You play him. I know you insinuated earlier that you don't.
Anywhere.
How the fuck are you saying to people that you should play Devontae Adams and you won't play Tyreek Hill?
Because
there's no reason.
Fair question. Fair question.
It's not a fair question.
I'm saying you got me. I'm saying that I don't think the Chiefs need Tyreek Hill in this game to where I think they get him back into game mode. Whereas like the Packers need Devontae Adams in this game. Also, Devontae Adams' injury is a lot more minor to where like I would not be shocked if Tyreek Hill comes in and plays like 20 to 30% of the snap. The Chiefs are winning this game. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, they are.
Colts come in Arrowhead. I don't see why.
Hurt as fuck. Yeah, they come in really like they're limping in.
Colts do, yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. But I don't see the Chiefs featuring Tyreek Hill. They don't need him as much as the Packers will need Devontae Adams. And the fact that Devontae Adams will need to be on the field, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if
you're right in what you're saying, you called my bullshit. Like, got me.
Yeah,
that's really why I feel that way.
No, I understand, but just like I'm just thinking, Tyreek Hill doesn't even need a lot of volume to be amazing. And if you have Tyreek Hill, I mean, you do in like almost every single league.
I own most Tyreek Hill shares all the time.
But I also feel like you're a better drafter than most people, and you have a lot of wide receiver depth on those teams.
Yeah, Shrek, record that, clip it, let's do it. Yeah, no, you're right. That is part of it. Like I have guys
delete that compliment, by the way.
I have like guys like my decision would be guys like Sterling Shepard, Marquise Brown, DJ Moore, Emmanuel Sanders, Stephon Diggs. Like that's the decision, and I pick all of those dudes over Tyreek Hill in this situation because again, it goes back to what we said before with Melvin Gordon, or what I said before, is that I anticipated Tyreek Hill being out longer, so I got my team to be where I don't need Tyreek Hill for at least until week 7, right? So I'm not going to buy in and like cripple myself and sit Sterling Shepard, who's been good, or Marquise Brown, who has upside, for Tyreek Hill, who could play 20 snaps. Would you be shocked if he played more than half the snaps?
No. I feel like if he's ready to go, I don't know. I think he'll be out there.
Fine. All right. My say is I hope that you can sit Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean,
I would rank Tyreek Hill as like wide receiver 35 this week if you were to go.
All right. Well, I feel like we've both established where we're at with that.
Fine.
What's up with the fucking other pieces? Sammy Watkins is kind of an ass wipe. Demarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman are the same person.
So I think to that point is like you play Watkins.
I think you still have to.
You have to.
Yeah, at this point, I think.
But you can't play those other guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, I'm in a couple leagues where I picked up either of these guys. I think I'm sort of grabbed a couple shares of both respectively. Robinson and Hardman, I don't know. They both can hit like the 75-yard bomb.
Yeah,
Mahomes will just do what's there, and
yeah,
they're low on the totem pole.
Mahomes is going to throw like 2 or 3 touchdowns. You have to guess. I don't fucking know where they're going. Assume one of them goes to Kelsey, right? But if you have any of those Mecole Hardman or Robinson dudes, your team is not crafted to where you needed them like that. Like I'm saying, I'm taking guys like Tate. I'm taking guys like your Cardinals guy that you love that I can't Isabella. I'm taking dudes like I'd rather play Golden Tate this week.
Damn. Okay.
Those dudes.
Well, I will say I think the cards fell right for fantasy owners when we picked up DeMarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman. They both did what they needed to do in the weeks that you started them. Maybe your luck runs out this week. I think that's what we're getting at.
Yeah, can't count on it. So
right.
Kelsey, you start. Mahomes, you start. Running game, what's your thought here? I don't fucking know. I've not known. I've had nothing to say about this running game since July.
LaShawn McCoy's looking like the safest start, and that's scary.
Yeah. And all you can say is the Chiefs, I think, will go up big early.
Yeah, and then even when they go up big early in games, I don't know what they're going to do. They pass so much, and they don't really sulk games away. So I think McCoy is a safe start. Damian Williams is practicing in full. I don't think it's safe to roll that dude out there. If you really need him, you can put him in there if he's full go and he's ready to go. Fucking Darrell Williams has been really good for them, and it might just create this really awful backfield. Darwin Thompson, irrelevant. McCoy for me, safest start. The Williams is I'm probably not touching this game.
I agree with that. You summed it up perfectly. Let's flip over to the Colts. Brissett, we talk about him in the streamer conversation. I put him a little bit below the Dalton range. That's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks that he doesn't have his weapons. They're going to be playing catch up, but I don't feel like the touchdowns can be banked on when you're missing all your good guys.
It's not logical.
It's really not logical.
What's Mac's situation? I don't really know.
Mac is missing practice, but probably will suit up. It just sucks that this is the Sunday night game. So I think if you're a Mac owner, you're picking up Nyheim Hines or Jordan Wilkins. I've seen a lot of people leaning Jordan Wilkins, but in a game where they're going to be fucking playing catch up against the Chiefs, Nyheim Hines is the pass catching back for the Colts. This dude is the guy to own, especially this week. You don't want to even stash Jordan Wilkins. They're not the same offense if they don't have Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack is better than all these backs. I think if you own Mack, you pick up Hines. If you can't, you got to find a different flex. But if you can wait till the Sunday night game, switch him out. And if Mack is inactive, Nyheim Hines is definitely the way to go because he should see at least somewhere 7 targets.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think that way before you said it, but you're right. That I think Wilkins would be the carrying running back type handcuff, but
Absolutely.
This is a game where Hines is the play, and you don't want to do any of it, obviously, but Hines is the play. The only other thing I'll say about the Colts, so Mac goes, you play him. Ty goes, you play him. If they don't start the rest of the passing game. You're not starting Zach Pascal, you're not starting Paris Campbell. Shut up. Only other thing I'll say is that if you're spinning that tight end roulette wheel, is that Ebron would be a relatively possible play just because the way this game could go, that's an Ebron thing where he'll catch a fucking touchdown in this game compared to guys I'm talking guys like Eifert, what we're talking about in the tight end pool. If there's ever an Ebron game that actually you can tell somebody it's okay, this would be it. Not saying it is okay.
I fully agree. I even think it's okay because most likely they're going in without Ty and Mac. I do love Ebron too, so I'm very biased. But they're limping in here, and just if anybody's catching a touchdown on this offense, it's probably Ebron.
Yeah, it'll happen in a 42-10 effort with 6 seconds left in the fourth quarter, but it could definitely.
It sounds like you're talking about last week.
Yeah, right. All right, let's pick this game, Chiefs. Monday night, let's finish it off. Browns at the 49ers. 49ers coming off the bye. Let's start with the Browns here. People drafted Baker where they drafted him quarterback 6. You held on to him probably. Nobody's really dropped him even though they've been told to. Are you ripping out Baker this week?
No, 49ers defense, very formidable. They're at home.
So you think they're legit?
I think the 49ers defense is legit. I think they really –
too.
Yeah, I think we're in full agree. And to be hosting the Browns is probably a good thing because they're just very volatile. So I feel like a good 49ers defense is better than the Browns coming in.
Okay. You literally just summed up exactly how I feel about it, where I think the 49ers defense is legit. I don't think they're elite, but I think that the Browns problems cater to the 49ers defense.
Yes, 100. And the 49ers have been very good at exploiting who they're playing, and that's why they're a good team right now. Correct. And I think this, like, they had the bye early. I think this is their chance to just be like, we're real. Fuck everybody. And they played some shit teams, but like, whatever. I think they shut the Browns out here. Not like, Browns will put up points, but whatever.
Yeah.
49ers get it done.
Completely agree. So with the Browns, I'm not starting Baker. You're not starting Baker. Chubb is a straight up running back one.
Stud.
Love that if you took him. Odell, better days to come. That's never happening again. 2 for 20, whatever. Let's talk about Landry for a second. He had a career day. Do you think that's happening again?
No, I mean, I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either.
It's just like, again, so many mouths to feed. You got Njoku coming back eventually. Ricky, I'm actually not sure about that at this point.
Who cares?
Exactly. Who cares?
So I'm in a league where I own Jarvis Landry.
You're trying to get rid of him.
I'm a little bit thin at running back, right? And
sell him for anybody, right?
Tell me if this is crazy. I offered Landry for Marlon Mack straight up, and I'm like ready to fucking do that.
If I'm the Mac owner, I don't even take that.
Right. I want Mac. And the guy was like, yes, and I think it's going to happen
He
tomorrow.
said yes?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm a little thin at running back. He's got Gordon. Stupid idiot. Thinks Gordon's going to be like, whatever.
Gordon is going to go off. He's smart.
Well, we already did that. But either way, I'm saying, like, I'm trading Jarvis Landry for whatever you can get for him on a high game, because it's not going to happen again. That's
See, in a maybe this doesn't sound like the most savvy league where you're getting this trade.
What it is it's a very deep, like, 14-team PPR league.
Okay.
So it's
like,
a dude that, like, a full
needs are way more important. So
yeah, so he's just like, I have no receivers, and he's got like Mac, and then
gotta do what you gotta do.
Like Mac, Ingram, and like Freeman. So he's just like fucking whatever, and I'm just like, yeah. I have like Gurley and McCaffrey and like no flex. So I'm just like, if I could rock Gurley, McCaffrey, and Mac every week, give me that.
Very nice. Yeah, I like that.
So, but yeah, like that's where I'm at. Sell high on it. I don't want to own Landry. I don't want to start Landry.
Yeah,
ever.
It's just like once Odell gets going, he's going to get going. The only thing that's going to help Landry is if Odell gets hurt. And even at that point, like, this offense is still rough to depend on.
Yeah, everything's got to go right. And like,
it went right once so far.
It went right once. And that's not like this Browns team. That's last year's Browns team too. Like, Landry has not proven it. So that's where I'm at with that. All right. So the Colts, that's where we're at with the Colts. Or no, that's the Browns. Sorry. Colts we already did. Browns. Ricky Seals-Jones, you buying into that?
Hell no.
Hell no. That was a wide open touchdown. Don't buy into it. Shoves the dude. Let's flip over to the 49ers coming off the bye. Kittle, better days are ahead for Kittle.
Buy low if you can, or buy now, I would say.
Buy anything you can for Kittle. I would give up Marlon Mack and Jarvis. If I could give you a Jarvis Landry for Kittle swap, I'd be
in a heartbeat.
I would trade Jarvis Landry and Marlon Mack combo for George Kittle, depending on my situation.
Yeah, depending on that's not the
depending on the league and the situation, value's there, I think. Like
no, I completely agree. And like what's cool is this is when you got to think like George Kittle is past his bye.
Yes.
And
it's so valuable.
You haven't eaten the week and you could own him.
Right.
It's good shit. So I really like I mean, you got to move now and quickly, but I mean depending on how aggressive you want to be.
I have nothing else on the Niners offense. I don't like their receiving game.
I hate their receivers, dude.
I hate
Kyle Shanahan. He's good and I hate him.
I'm glad I don't own any. I was with a co-owner where he drafted Marquise Goodwin like earlier than I wanted, and I immediately dropped him. And like my ideal 49ers receiver situation is having Deebo Samuel as the last person on your bench and like watch what happens there. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, no. I don't think Dante Pettis is on some upswing either.
No.
Caught a touchdown against the Bengals. Way to fucking go, dude.
He fucked you.
Yeah, he did. He caught me in probably every league I'm in.
Oh, it's funny. I didn't mean you specifically. I meant people who drafted him, but apparently
that's me, dude.
He fucked you in every league you're in. So
and like I bought into Dante Pettis in like the fact that if he goes super late, I'll take him. And he went super late in every league, and I was like, you know what? This feels right. And it was wrong as hell.
It was right at the time, but oh God, was it wrong?
Oh yeah, cost me a bunch of weeks. Week one.
Also, if you own Marquise Goodwin, honestly, probably the best start of the Niners wide receivers and just disgustingly god-awful dropping. Like, just get rid of it.
Dude, and even the run game, like I've been screaming on every podcast this season, get rid of Matt Breida, get rid of Tim and Coleman, get rid of Raheem Mostert. Anybody, I mean, no one's buying Jeff Wilson if you have him.
But he's scoring touchdowns.
It doesn't matter.
That's everything. No, that's everything to show you that it's all nothing.
Oh, it's a complete trick, dude. It is. Everyone's saying like they went against bad teams. They did really well. They schemed very well. And guess what? That's going to happen all year. You're going to get fucked.
Happened last year.
Get whatever you can for any of them. I'll trade them for peanuts.
Yes.
Dude, I'll trade them for Patriots D, a kicker. I mean, not that bad, but
I get what you're saying though. Like, I mean, Zerline probably better fit for your team. Like, I'd rather like wash my hands of the kicker situation and have to decide if I want to start Matt Breida, who will have good weeks.
It doesn't matter though.
Right. Here's the thing. There will be a 49ers running back that finishes as a top 24 running back every single week. You have no fucking idea where that's coming from.
Exactly. It's Tevin Coleman comes back in at the worst possible time. Jeff Wilson probably goes back down to fucking practice squad. You assume that Tevin Coleman's going to be the running back in the goal line situations. Whatever. Kyle Shanahan doesn't give a shit.
Let's sum it up this way, and I think you'll agree. You're dropping dudes like that for Jalen Samuels, an upside that we actually
I agree.
You know, you didn't love his upside, but you're dropping it for that. I think that Mostert is just as valuable as Gus Edwards to my fucking team at some point. Like,
I couldn't agree.
When I will play that motherfucker. So
I could not agree more.
That's all I got there. So let's pick this Monday night game. What you got?
I'm going to take the 49ers. I think they are real. I think Kyle Shanahan is good for football, bad for fantasy.
I just can't see the Niners going 4-0, but the Browns are on national TV way too much, dude. You know what? I'm picking the Niners. I can't pick I want to see less of the Browns. Go away.
Yeah, they already put them in two bad spots. They put them against the Rams and then the Monday night against the Jets, which was just circumstances, were tough for the Jets one, but
yeah, the NFL was like, oh, we want Darnold, Baker. Like, they planned that out as the draft was happening in 2018.
Also, they hit like fucking of course, ESPN gets like the drama fucking games. I'm just like, dude, I cannot stand ESPN.
I hate that so much. I'm so glad they got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and they're just like, Mason Rudolph. Oh, dude, looks like Field Yates. Sick.
Even Laura's watching that game and hearing Booger is just like talk about like the anything positive for the Bengals or anything positive for the Steelers. Just like, this dude's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, if Laura's saying that, like, it is just, they're just bad.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree. Well, all right, we got all the games down, Vinny. This has been an arduous situation. And we'll talk about Melvin Gordon. The next podcast, we have to discuss that because
I think we should do the recap.
We should do the recap because we fought on this hard. A lot will be – what's going to happen is he's going to get like 14 touches for like 75 yards. It'd be just like a push.
Nobody wins.
Whatever. I will win that anyway. Anyway, so you got anything else on any of these games, Vinny?
No, man.
You're 3-1 like me and not awful like Vinny. What's your record?
2-2, man.
That's fine.
Come on. It's early. I told I'm going to say that until week 6.
Cool. It's early. I'll say that until week 12. But all right. Well, anyway, wrap it up for Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Check out the week 4 recap. Check out part 1 of the week 5 preview. For Vinny Gonzalez, I am Matt Rogers. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next week for the week 5 recap and some week 6 preview. Later podcast, to quote Walsh.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.